Hi guys! Welcome back to another episode of From Blended to Besties.
We're on episode 9.
Yes, we're on episode 9. We have a bunch of new podcast equipment, so if we sound different or look like it's a hot mess on YouTube, it's because we're still trying to learn all of this, and the microphones are in our faces.
It's a little overwhelming.
I'm trying so hard to make sure I don't laugh in this microphone.
I'm trying to make sure I'm not being too loud.
I think we should be good.
Okay. We did do a test run.
So yeah.
Hopefully, everything goes well.
I know. This is very new to us. I have Megan in my ear, literally. So
literally, I feel like Tiffany is like invading my brain.
I know. That's why I'm scared of laughing. Can you imagine me laughing?
Girl, I already heard you laugh like 3 times on here. Blew out an eardrum.
Oh no.
So we did take a break last week. There was no podcast last week. Kids were on spring break, and we just weren't feeling good. So we took a break, but we're back, and we'll be back every week from now on now.
Yes.
We have Disney on Ice on Thursday,
which I'm super, super excited about. I just saw the commercials on TV. Well,
oh, really?
You know, we don't actually have cable.
I was going to say, it must be nice to have cable.
Not on cable, on whatever it was. They just started popping up, and I was like, damn, wait till the last minute to be showing off that Disney on Ice is over here.
Yeah, you've been before, right?
Mm-hmm. I've been as a kid so many times. My mom loved going, and then we took Michael when he was younger, and he really liked it. And I was like, this is what I used to do with my mom, and now we're just doing it.
I've never been.
It's a lot of fun. You pay like $30 or $40. I'm being dramatic. For a snow cone, but you have to because it comes in a souvenir cup. And every single time I've gone, I always got a souvenir cup, and that's how Michael got that Mickey souvenir cup that Bryce used to use all the time.
Oh, okay.
So that's like mandatory.
Okay.
And you have 2 kids, so you're welcome.
I gotta pay for both. Damn.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Is it cold? Like, should we dress? Because we're like pretty close to the ice.
Yeah, I would bring a jacket because I don't know, how everyone is going to deal with the cold. But you are just like if you were in like an ice skating arena.
Girl, I don't ice skate either.
I would bring a jacket. I wouldn't do long sleeves because, if you are hot, you're going to want to take it off. And when you go into the restrooms or where you pay for food, that's going to be hot because it's full of people. But when you're closer to the ice, I would recommend maybe having some long sleeves or a jacket just in case.
I'm excited.
It's going to be a fun time.
We're going to be vlogging it. So if you're not following us on YouTube, make sure you are. And we are bringing our husbands.
Yes. It's going to be the whole family, all 6 of us. So I'm super excited. I think it's going to be fun for the kids. It's going to be a cool vlogging experience. And I just love Disney.
Yeah, I love Disney too. I'm super excited. Tiffany and I are actually going to be possibly going to Disney in a couple weeks.
Yes.
And we're all supposed to go kayaking. If you've been listening to our podcast, we have mentioned the kayaking saga for quite some time. And if you remember a couple episodes back, Tiffany was like, I'll never be on the canoe, blah, blah, blah. Guess who is going to be getting water shoes and going on the canoe with us? And when I say us, I mean like me, Tiffany, and the boys, like in one canoe. Michael has his own canoe now, or kayak, so he's not going to be with us. It's just me, you, and Bryce on the canoe. And then Travis on his own, and then Mike on his own.
I love all of this, just,
We're going to look like little ducklings out there. We're going to have, like, the 2 men on their own canoe, and then, like, me, you, and Bryce, and then, like, Michael trailing behind. It's going to be so cute.
This was brought on me last minute. Let me forewarn y'all. It wasn't like I voluntarily was like, yes, I'm doing it. Megan brought it up, and I was like,
I got her husband. He was the first one I went to because I knew Tiffany would say no. So I was like, hey, Mike.
Oh, to get a canoe?
Guess what we got? Made him super jealous. So we are all going, weather permitting, because there is supposed to be a storm coming through on Thursday, which is bringing a tiny cold front.
I know it's going to be rainy when we're going to Disney on Ice.
I know.
I saw it and I was like, no. But then again, we're going to be indoors, so it's fine. But like, no, because I wanted to take a cute picture outside. I don't know. I saw 80%, and then I saw the little rain droplets on the news thing.
But is it like morning or is it like evening overnight?
We're gonna have to talk to Paul Delgado because he didn't say anything.
Paul Delgado, hit your girl up.
I know.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that and see. Because if it's overnight, it shouldn't be anything crazy. But
I feel like it's gonna be the whole day. Ugh. Florida hasn't had that in a minute.
It's about that time of year.
Yup, April showers. Even though we're in March.
We also didn't have much of a winter this year either. So
I know.
Whatever. Anyway, so today on our podcast, we are talking about
I'm pulling it up because I forgot. Common parenting. Oh, yeah. Common co-parenting/parenting issues and our thoughts on it. I put this topic on my phone simply because we always have people asking us what are our thoughts on A, B, and C all the time, and we're always saying, we aren't sure because we aren't in those positions or we don't have to deal with those specific situations. But I figure that we can at least give our opinions and thoughts on it for the people who are always asking us, because even though we aren't dealing with those situations, we still have opinions on it.
And we've still had those conversations too. A lot of them, like, even though we decided against it, there was a point where it was brought up and we had to have a discussion, like with things like child support and stuff like that. Like Mike and I had a discussion, and I can tell you, like what we just, obviously we decided no child support, but just things like that. We've had conversations about it, but we can give our opinion and stuff.
I brought up a good point on live yesterday that I'll have to bring up today if I don't forget. We'll see if I forget or not, though. Regarding the sports, like paying for sports and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up too.
Oh, okay. So that was the one that I was going to bring up because I realized we didn't do it on the podcast. Yeah. We did on a live. So the first one that I have written down is our thoughts on 50-50 custody. We have people all the time who are always messaging us, asking how we got 50-50, explaining their stories of how I guess a lot of states automatically give custody to the mother and the father having to fight for custody. People asking us what determines whether the father or mother should get full custody, which when they ask, like, and I'm the one who's opening those messages, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I've never been through any of that, so I have no idea what determines that. I don't think I know of any states or any specific areas that automatically award 100% custody to a dad first.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I don't think it is a thing. That's why there's so many.
Getting 100% was a thing either.
Oh, I knew that was a thing.
I thought that, like, again, I never planned on getting divorced. Wasn't like I did a bunch of research on custody or anything like that. And when it happened, it was just quickly, like, and we kind of knew that we were going to do 50-50. Like, there wasn't a time where I was like, I'm going to fight for sole custody. Like, you know what I mean? And he kind of knew too, like, that's just not the kind of people we are. So,
and yet there's, women out there who are automatically getting it or fighting to get the 100% custody. And it's like, but why?
I mean, I could see why in certain situations. What I don't see is if the father's active, if the father's a good father, he's, got a good working job, or he's paying his bills and, buying the kids clothes and wanting to spend time with the child, why he's not able to get custody.
Yeah. I just think it's insane. There's so many. I passed by a billboard not too long ago. It's basically fighting for fathers' rights for custodies. And I was like, I don't see any of these billboards for women. Yeah. Like, it's men that are like going through hell and back. And I don't understand it. I never went through it to even know, but seeing all these other stories of what people are saying, like having to pay, first of all, lawyers, thousands and thousands of dollars just to get 50-50 custody. And a lot of people are saying it's not common to start, because usually what my thought process is you start with 50-50 and then you see, like, is there reason to change it? Is there neglect, or is there, a parent that's not capable of taking care of the child where you have to change it? But to start at 100% and work to 50-50, I think it's insane.
Well, but there's a difference between custody and visitation.
Yes.
So if, I think that, you should have 50-50 visitation, obviously, especially if you want to be in the child's life, that shouldn't be a question. Again, I don't really know a whole lot about this because it wasn't a struggle. Like, it's not something I ever really looked into because it just wasn't, not that, I wouldn't love to have my kid 100% of the time, like, who wouldn't, but it wasn't something like I even really considered too much because Mike's a good dad and I knew that he wanted to be in Michael's life. So it was more like, whatever. But I know custody comes down to, like, the financials of who can take care of the kid, who's taking the kid to and from school, and it's more of like, who's making the day-to-day decisions, and that's where the 50-50 comes in. So if mom thinks that, dad's letting him watch, R-rated stuff and he's 6 years old and she has, like, all these points and, like, things like that, like, custody might differ from 50-50 and stuff like that. But at the same time, who's mom to make all the decisions herself? Like, it's his kid too, but I don't know.
I've just seen, like, a lot, which I learned, I don't remember the acronym, but there's an acronym that a lot of people use where a lot of dads just get like end of the week, like the weekends. Like mom gets Monday through Friday and then dads get Saturday and Sunday. And I know a lot of people personally who do that. And I'm like, but why? Like, why are you a parent enough on the weekends, but not a parent enough on the weekdays?
I did my custody agreement when I was a kid was my dad every other weekend. I would see my dad every other weekend. So like I think altogether it was like 5 days, 5 days a month.
Oh, really?
Because you would have Saturday, half of Sunday, and half of Friday. You know, if my dad worked Fridays, and I would go home on Sundays, so maybe even less than that.
Yeah, we only had the summertime with my dad. Well, obviously he was in Florida and I was in New York, so that's the only times that we ever really had. But it was only summer vacation, and I never thought anything of it as a child because I thought that's what everyone else went through. But obviously growing up and stuff, I'm like, I can't imagine someone just parenting like during holidays and stuff like that. And
it sucks.
I don't understand it. I mean, I don't really have a reason to study further into custody to even learn or figure that stuff out. But
and that's why it's hard when people ask us stuff like that. It's like, you know, it's not even like I looked into it and learned a bunch about it and can give out advice on it. Like I really didn't.
No. So, and that's what sucks.
I'm sorry.
Like I feel for them, and I think everyone should get 50-50. You both made the child together. You should get the
not
time.
Everyone should get 50-50 because, you know,
most.
I mean, there are circumstances where abuse and neglect and drugs and, you know, like not being able to physically care for the child, you know, I mean, as shitty as it's me personally, I feel, you know, if the dad doesn't have a job and he's not able to provide, if I'm sending him clothes over there, I'm making sure I'm sending money over there to make sure the dad can feed the kid. If I'm providing 90% of the financials and everything, like I'm going to have my kid the majority of the time. You can have as much visitation as you'd like, but, you know, like if I'm providing everything.
I agree.
Me personally.
I definitely think, though, it should start initially at 50-50, and then you, like, determine it. Don't have to fight your way to get there, but you start it, and then it's like, all right, now let's figure out, can you actually physically do everything that you need to? Yes, you can. All right, perfect. We stay with this. No, you can't. Okay, now we're going to have to modify things.
Well, when you go to court and you get divorced, you have to prove, like, so if you go to court, you know, when you guys are figuring all this out, the judge is going to ask you, do you have a job? Show me statements. And if dad says like, no, I don't have a job.
Yeah.
No, I don't have
and then that would
I'm living on
change
my mom's
it from
couch.
50 to whatever.
Yeah,
so it shows that you have like that fair fighting chance, I think would be the best ways. But I don't even know what states, like a lot of people are saying like certain states are mom friendly.
Like mom gets the upper hand.
Yeah. Like their mom. They're for moms or pro moms or something. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a thing or not. I've never researched to know, but I can definitely see some states maybe preferring the mom to do the majority thing. And it's like, if you want the 50, you need to show me that you deserve it type of thing.
That's true.
So,
and everything goes the other way around too. You know, if, you know, you're, you know, a mom that doesn't have a job and, you know, dad's got all the financials and everything, you know, I mean, I said what I said, you know, you have to prove you can be able to take care of the child or else, you know, he shouldn't be sending over clothes and toiletries and everything. Like, if you want to be a full-time parent, you got to be able to provide and be a full-time parent, friend.
I feel like that would get really sticky for situations like stay-at-home moms. Like, do you go back to a working mom? Do you stay as a stay-at-home mom? Are you, you know, having that alimony to continue what it is?
Because, I mean, like, if you got divorced, like, if I were to get divorced from Travis, I mean, how would I make money? I would, unless I was still doing social media or something, like, I would have to go back to work. And then when we would go to court, I'd be like, yeah, you know, I do have a job.
I've seen a lot of moms who got to be, who were able to continue to be stay-at-home moms through alimony. OnlyFans, I can't with you.
Yeah, he makes a lot of money. I mean,
which I thought was insane, but I was like, I mean, that should be a discussion, I guess, for them to.
As long as you got the money to support, I mean, who cares how's it's coming in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, discuss that shit before, like, anything happens. Like, what would happen if there was, like, a fallout or something, just to make sure you're covered. Because then you imagine.
I would try to win the lottery. Like, that would be my end goal. Like,
girl,
I would. I'd get to
try to win the lottery. I've been trying to win the lottery for years. I still haven't played yet, but I've been thinking that I'll magically win somehow.
Can't win if you don't play, girl.
I know.
I'd be at the casino.
I can't with you.
With my husband's alimony check, trying to win it big.
The next thing I wrote down is child support and paying stuff for the child. We were actually talking about that on live yesterday. Why were we talking about that on live?
Someone asked us about, the dad didn't want to help pay for something. And that the mom really wanted him to do. And we touched on, I know in our custody agreement, not that we ever have to go, you know, there or whatever, but I use the example of soccer. If I was like, hey, Mike, you know, like, I really want to put Michael in soccer. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And we would each pay 50-50 for soccer. Make sure it was on a day that worked for both of us, or that one of us could bring it if the other one couldn't be there. We'd figure it out. If I was like, hey, Mike, I want to put Michael in soccer, and he was like, I can't make it. I don't, I don't want to go to the practices or whatever. I can still put Michael in soccer, but I would have to pay for it 100% myself and make sure it's on the days that I have Michael, so it doesn't interfere with his dad's. And I think that's amazing for custody, because it gives you the freedom to do what you want to do with your child and not force the other parent to pay. But also, if you guys come to an agreement,
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that when people get upset that they're like, I didn't want this done. Now it's done on my week. So now they have to stop what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't think that's fair.
I brought up yesterday on live how my mom used to do it when I was younger, that if you didn't help pay for it, you weren't a part of it.
No, I agree with that too.
Which I thought, yeah, that's fair. Like, you can't enjoy the benefits of a situation or whatever's going on, a birthday party or a sports game, if you're not even putting half the monetary value in it either. I don't think that's fair. So I think that was always a great, I don't know what you call it, lesson or example that she was saying,
No, I mean, it does make sense. Like, if, he was like, no, I don't want to pay half for soccer, but yet he's like, hey,
he's able to go to the games.
Yeah, I don't think that's fair.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
You're not paying for the uniforms. You're not paying for the practices. You don't get to come and watch him play.
I think that's what I told that lady yesterday. And I was like, he can't come then. If he's not going to pay for it, he shouldn't come. That's not fair. Like, why are you going to be there cheering and supporting, but you put nothing into it? Like, no, you can pay for your own separate sports thing that you can cheer and attend. So I've seen a lot of people ask that, and I definitely agree. Oh, that was minus the child support, though. People would ask us about child support, if we have child support or how we do that. We don't have
that's what
it.
The dad said. He was like,
he said use the child support money. That's what it is. I knew it was coming into one.
Child support is reimbursement, friends, for the stuff that you have to put out for the kid every single day. Like, it's not for, like...
Someone said, what are they saying?
In my humble opinion.
What do you think child support is? Because I was seeing what some people were saying child support is, and I'm like, I don't know.
So, okay, child support. So... Again, I was only at my dad's house every other weekend. So I was, using a lot of my mom's electricity. I was using a lot of her gas going to and from school. I was using, I was living at my mom's house. My dad would pay child support. And I think the child support goes towards living expenses. I think it goes towards, anything you do for the child, me eating. With my mom, my brother, and I, like, that's 2 mouths to feed all the time. And my dad was only seeing us 2 days a week.
Yeah.
So he was paying to help us live. You know what I mean? If it was 50-50 and I got to see my dad more, then I don't think there should be a reason for child support. But you're supporting your children. You know what I mean? Since you're not always with your children. Personally, for me, this is my opinion. Things like sports and stuff, like... But then again, with that being said, I don't think some people should be paying as much child support as they do.
I'm amazed at how much people...
But that's just my opinion.
The child support that people are paying, I could just never... I told you that one person on that group, he was paying $1,500 or $1,600 a month. Like, it was his whole entire paycheck. Like, not even a portion, his whole entire paycheck to child support, because he had three children with his ex. And I was like, that's insane. Yeah. But some lady was saying when we were on live, she was talking about, she's like, yeah, I use my child support for, like, rent and bills, and I don't have anything left over for anything else. And I was like, I don't know if you would use it for rent, because you also have to, like, keep in mind, like, separate the child support from, like, don't live in a house that you can't afford without child support, because that's not, like, the smartest way to use child support. That's supposed to be, like, for the child's half of everything. The child should not be using it's me hitting the thing. I know, I'm so sorry.
I'm like, what is that?
It's me.
You see me over here struggling.
I know, I'm watching you. Look everywhere, and it's me kicking the thing.
I can't with you.
But when she was saying, like, rent and stuff like that, I'm like, you shouldn't really rely. Like, it should be for groceries. Yes, make sure the child is fed. Make sure the child is clothed. Make sure you have gas to take the child to anything that needs to be done. But it shouldn't be covering your whole entire rent.
No, it absolutely does not. And like I said, it's like a reimbursement. So when you go out and buy school clothes for your kid, like...
And it should be half. Like, he's supposed to technically be paying for half of it, not the whole entire thing.
Yeah. Yes, exactly what she just said. Child support, when school clothes come around, he's paying you. And, like, it should not be paying for your cell phone bill, for you to get your nails done, like, for things to reimburse the living of the child.
Their portion is if you were still together.
Yes.
And he was having to share in the responsibility of having to pay for the child.
Exactly.
But yes, I I was just stunned by how much people are paying for child. I've seen some people pay like $200 for child support, which I get, it's a small amount here and there, but $1,600 a month. I'm like, what? Like, and I even creeped on them because I was like, are they living a lavish lifestyle? Like, I get how celebrities charge so much more because you have to keep up with the child having the same lifestyle, whatever. But I was like, damn, that's a lot of money. I know. Like, what you also have to be reasonable. Like, you shouldn't expect, because people were saying, they want their child to have like the best things or whatever with or without their ex-significant other, but it's like you should not be using child support to buy like name brand everything. Like, you really are taking advantage of that. And if something ever happens, like an emergency situation where you're going to need that money for your child, you're going to be stuck, and you are not going to be going to the judge and be like, well, I spent all my money on Nikes and Adidas and now he has a broken leg and I have to pay for this. Like, you have to be a little bit smart about it and don't take advantage of it.
Again, I do want to say before people come for us, we don't do child support, so we are pretty ignorant in the whole thing. This is just our opinions. Yeah. Because we grew up with parents paying child support.
We did.
We don't do child support, but this is just our opinions.
Yes.
I don't want to anger anybody who's going to come for us.
You wouldn't be the first ones. I'm just kidding. But no, I'm not kidding. You really wouldn't be the first ones. No, I'd be curious to see what people think is reasonable child support and what they actually do use it for. Because it is scary to see how some people, and obviously the issue is the people who abuse it and use it the wrong way, make it such a negative thing for the people who actually need it.
So I actually looked up what child support is for, and I'm going to give y'all the Google definitions. It's not mine.
Google definitions.
It says to cover basic needs of a child, including food, housing, and clothing. On another website, it says to maintain child's living standard and ensure all their basic needs are covered. And the last one is to ensure both parents, regardless of the relationship with each other, financially support their children to their best ability.
Okay.
So that does not say anything about nails and,
Yeah. And it also doesn't even like specify an amount or percentage or anything. So it's very varied in different areas.
Yes. Can you hear me?
That's what I was feeling. I was nervous for a second. I can hear me now and I can hear you.
I can hear you.
This is new for us.
We take a break.
Okay, so the next one, we can like put them together, is talking about the child having trouble adjusting and high conflict baby mamas. I feel like a lot of people see the child having trouble adjusting as I'm doing something wrong, or the scenario that we had someone bring up recently of if the child is wanting the parents together, like they must not like me.
Yeah, we had a girl reach out who's I don't know if I should say her name if she wants to say her name, just in case. Girl, you know who we are. We love you. She reached out basically bringing she was asking how would we handle the situation, and I told her that we kind of did go through something. The question was directed more towards Tiffany, but Tiffany was sleeping.
Wow, way to call me out.
And so she was basically asking, she has a daughter who's she's in kindergarten.
I think she's grade. Like 5 or 6 or something. Yeah.
Maybe not even that old. Maybe she's going into kindergarten or something like that. And she has known her since she was 1 and has been saying things about like, my mom and my dad are going to get back together. I wish they were married and things like that. And what I said to her was, it's age. Like Michael went through that. Was that your stomach?
No, I thought that was you, girl.
No.
I said I wasn't going to laugh on here. Sorry, I heard someone's stomach or something.
Yeah. Oh my God. I thought that was you. You're looking at me like.
I knew I was like, damn, Megan.
I ate before I came here. I brought you lunch. I can't. Anyway, Michael did go through something like that. But again, Tiffany has been in Michael's life since Michael was 3. So he doesn't really remember too much of life without Tiffany.
He was also kind enough to include me. Like, he wasn't like he wanted you guys together. Like, he wanted you guys together, but I was also allowed to live in the house as well, somehow.
Yeah, that's what he said. And it was
one big happy family.
Yeah, what I told her was, it's not that she doesn't want you in the picture, but kids are starting, especially at that age, they see nuclear families. They see, moms and dads get married and have a baby and they're together, and, why isn't my family like that? So it's more of, we're supposed to be together. And, I explained it to Michael, if Daddy and I were to get back together, Tiffany wouldn't be around anymore. Right.
Yeah.
And the look on his face was just like, what? And I was like, yeah, like Travis wouldn't be living with us either. Like, you would lose your step parents if me and Daddy got back together. And, it wasn't that, he didn't want you or he didn't want Travis. It's just they're starting to, like, piece little things together and,
And it's also
hard for them to understand.
A child trying to solve a problem. They're like,
Yes.
why go to 2 houses if we could just all be in the same house together? And then it's like, oh, problem solved without truly understanding what's happening behind the scenes.
Like, let's all just be one big happy family and live together. And it's like
they think it'll be easier.
Understand, like, why this is happening, and they just see little clues and things, and like you said, like, try to, like, piece it together. So it wasn't against,
especially when they're going through the moments of, like, missing the parents, or, sometimes when the parents are like, I'm gonna miss you and, like, I'll see you in a week, they're like, why? Like, we could just all be in a house together and I'll be better. So definitely trying to understand that it's not a you thing. Oops,
I'm trying to get my back hurts. I'm, like, trying to sit back.
Trying to understand that it's not a you thing. It's just a child trying to understand. And, like, for Michael example, the more the years go by, the more he really does understand, and he's able to really get to know what a divorce is and how, like, we're trying to do the healthy divorce and healthy co-parenting. But when you do have a child that's, 3, 4, or 5, they're not going to understand, and they're going to say things that they don't know is hurting you. And I think that's the hardest thing that a lot of people, especially step-parents, have to deal with, is, like, when Michael would say, if he wanted you guys together, or if he was at our house and he's like, I really miss mommy and stuff like that, like, not to take it personally. Yeah. Like, he's just saying it because it's at the top of his head. He's not understanding how it's going to impact anyone else. And I see a lot of people are like, he said this and it hurt my feelings. And it's like, yeah, I can hurt your feelings, but, like, take it with a grain of salt. Like, it's just a 4-year-old and they don't mean anything besides, genuinely just missing their parents and trying to deal with their own emotions of, like, after a divorce type of situation.
Yeah, I remember, when Michael was little and he would say stuff like that to me, and I would be like, no, daddy can't come home with us, or no, he would lash out at me and he'd be like, you don't like daddy, and, attack me and make me try to seem like
you're the bad guy.
I was the one who didn't want his dad around. And I'm like, buddy, like, and he's 4. Like, you can't rationalize a 4-year-old. But at the same time, it was also kind of a blessing because kids that are 4 and 5 years old don't need to know all about your divorce.
Yeah, exactly. To sit down and explain it and be like, this is why daddy and I don't live together.
They don't need to know all of that. So it's bittersweet that he didn't know enough to not, pick sides or anything like that at that age. And even when they're older, like, he looks at us now and it's not like, oh, my parents fought. No, like, when he hears these stories, like, if he's in the other room talking about, like, us talking about anything we're talking about, he doesn't even know because we didn't discuss that in front of him. It's none of his business.
I know when we talk about, like, how it took us 4 years to talk and stuff like that, he's like looking like, I thought y'all always talked.
Oh, yeah. He's like, what?
Which is good that it's obviously we handled it in a manner that he didn't affect it, not even to know that we never really did talk the first 4 years, and he's oblivious to that. He thought we were always good from the beginning, or at least, spoke to each other or whatnot. But definitely not taking things too personally. And then as far as the high conflict, so many people message us about, what do I do in this situation when she's being this way, or I have a high conflict baby mama and I don't know what to do. I said it time and time again, but we're going to say it on this podcast. You cannot help those who cannot be helped. Like, the people who are not willing to be reasonable, understanding, consider healthiness for the sake of their child, there's nothing we can tell you to help make the situation better, unfortunately.
Yeah, it sucks. And, being a baby mama, here's
with you. You had to really, had to explain that.
I'm just saying, I see you, baby mamas, your girl's here. I see you. I'm going to give, some advice. If you're going through a divorce and you follow our podcast, or, your ex-husband's about to start dating or whatever, you got 2 choices when, you guys split up. You can either choose to be bitter and nasty, but remember, if you go that route, it doesn't matter how you guys broke up. If he cheated on you, he robbed you blind, whatever. The fact of the matter is, you got to look at the facts. He's going to move on. You're going to move on. And once you realize that you guys are both allowed to move on, regardless of, what happened in the past, you got 2 choices. You can either go at it. No one says you got to be best friends with him, okay? But you can go at it in a nasty manner because you're mad at him or her or whatever. Or you could go at it with an open heart because it's going to affect the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you could go and let it go and, not befriend, but, what am I trying to say?
My thought on it is, like, genuinely, I know it sounds corny as hell, but, like, treat your ex-spouse the way you wanna be treated, because if you're a nightmare to deal with, there is going to come a time and a day where you're going to need something, and you are not gonna like being treated the way you treated them. Like, just consider that, and not everything has to be a fight.
Yes, everyone's gonna move on, and you're gonna need to
Let things
co-parent with
go.
them at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And you can either choose to be nice and have a decent relationship and get to know the people who are raising your child half the time, or whatever the custody agreement is. Get to know them, be involved, have open, good communication, or you can be bitter and nasty and high conflict, and then you won't know jack shit about what's going over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's what I meant to say before. But you can't hold on to stuff, and I know, that's what we hear all the time is he cheated on me, he did this, he did that. And it's like, I know it sucks. I'm sorry that you're going through that, but that has nothing to do with
the child
and what you're having to go do now, which is co-parent. Like, I'm sorry, but that's between you and him. That has nothing to do with the child.
And that's a big thing to remember. Like, if you're upset because, your ex-spouse did whatever, so-and-so behind your back or to you or whatnot, you made a decision with this and y'all divorced because of that. That means you ended it. Like, there's no reason to harp on it and continue on. Now you're doing the co-parenting thing. Whatever happened in the past is done. Like, you made a decision and did the divorce for that reason. Don't hold that on them for the rest of their lives, because
it's not your problem anymore.
Yeah. Like, exactly. You walked away from it. It upset you and you showed them that you were done, and you're done. Like, be done.
Let it go.
And just seeing so many people talking about high conflict and all the different scenarios, like, stop trying to control a different house that you don't have a say in, because no one's going to listen to you and you're only stressing yourself out.
Yeah, and you're just causing problems. So now not only are you pissed off because A, B, and C, you can't control what's going on, but now you have no idea what's going on over there.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to be open and honest with you and communicate with you if you can't be communicated with.
And now you look like the bad guy, and like, you're just going to be the not the joke, but like, you're on the negative side of it. Like, he's going to be seeing like he's maintaining a healthy co-parenting relationship and doing what's best, and you're the bitter person here harping and ruining things for him.
We moved on too quick. That's what we hear all the time too. If you're divorced, honey, you don't get to decide how quick someone else moves on. I know it may hurt and it may suck, but you don't get to decide how quickly someone else can move on.
Yeah.
He could get married 2 days after you guys get divorced, and that's none of your business. As long as, well, I don't know about that, because you'd be involved in the kid and all that.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people talking about, I've seen a lot of stepmoms, with the whole drop-off issues and people trying to be able to do something in place of the dad or whatnot, and not a lot of ex-spouses being okay with it. But also, like, when they go to the judges and the judges like, you can't control who that person is. Just like, when a mom needs help and they contact a friend or a family member to help out with the kid, if that person is the stepmom, you have to be okay with that. You can either fight tooth and nail to go to court and you're just wasting your money for no reason, or maybe try to just be respectful and be like, okay, as long as she's protecting my child and making sure the child is safe, talk to her, get to know her, like, at least have a reason to not like them and be okay with them picking the child up before you come to those conclusions. But you really can't dictate what happens in the other house.
Yeah, and that's a whole thing too. I mean, if you decide to not be high conflict and you decide to be open and, reasonable, you'll get to actually know the other person, and then you'll feel better when your child's over there, and you'll have more trust and, whatever. And they'll be more receptive to whatever you have to say. Like, if something is going on, like, they're letting your kid stay up till midnight every single night on a school night. If you guys have that basic respect and communication, you could talk and be like, hey,
like, let's change that.
Let's tone it down a little bit. It seems to really be affecting him in school, or, whatever. And it's better than being like, oh yeah, you guys are talking, rather than, being all crazy and then be like, you need to, and then I'd be like, fuck you, bitch. You're like, I'm not listening to you. You're crazy.
I saw someone message us a long time ago at this point. She was saying how, I guess, the baby mama was talking to her nicely to her face, but always bad-mouthing her behind her back. She's like, what should I do? I'm like, as much as it sucks to be bad-mouthed behind your back, be grateful at least she's putting on that face of being kind of respectful in front of the child or whatnot, because she's at least half-assing and trying, but at least she's not bringing the drama in front of the child.
Yeah.
And that's 100%. All you can ask for. I'm like, if she is bad-mouthing you behind your back, then it's up to you to also be kind when the child is present, but maybe don't talk to her about things that you wouldn't be okay with, and, keeping those boundaries of like, okay, this isn't someone I should confide in, but this is someone that I should be respecting because they're respecting me back, at least in front of the child.
I would take a step back in that friendship relationship, and then just maybe just
that ain't no friendship.
Well, not a friendship. I don't know how close they were, but
yeah,
if they were, talking and texting and whatever, and then she found out she was whatever it was, I would take a step back and just give information on a need to know basis, and then just be nice face to face. And then if she tries to be all buddy and whatever, I'd just be like,
be very careful. Yeah, you have to kind of work around it. But at least she's not yelling at you in public like other people could be doing. So I feel like take the little positives with you. But unfortunately, when we do get people who ask us for advice to help out, if they're just not willing to understand, nothing we can say or do, none of our videos will help. Some people are just ignorant and very close-minded, and you just have to protect your own sanity and your own mental health and still love that child and be there for the child with realizing that you have to cut the losses of trying to be kind and amicable. How embarrassing. with the ex. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's good advice. Is that the last one?
That is. We have a couple of other different topics, but I think we should be doing a part 2 because we get the same comments over and over with that we can kind of just clump them together without being too specific. Like we said in the beginning, we don't deal with any of this. Let me really quick. A lot of people would ask me on the stepmom group that I'm with. They're like, "Tell me your secrets of like how you have your relationship with Megan." And I was like, "I don't have a high conflict person." That's how it was. I don't know like how to explain it. I was like, "I just don't have a crazy person in my life, so it makes things easier."
That's true. It could have been. One of us could have been.
I know. It would have been you.
It would have. Girl, I don't know.
It might have been me. I don't know. It depends on the day.
Yeah, we both can get a little fiery. Yeah, I mean, I would love to do a part 2. We do get asked of a lot of things, and a lot of people, how do you guys have this perfect family? We don't. But we've all just really, all 4 of us have really put in the effort to get to know each other and kind of understand our own personality traits and who's like who and what's like what and how to approach things. And we just know. I can't hear myself. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I just it was hurting my ears, so I took it off, and then I couldn't hear myself, and it was like a whole thing. But anyway, so we kind of just know like how to approach things. I feel like certain things I'll go to Mike and say, certain things I'll go to you, certain things, same thing with Travis. I found out with the whole motor thing.
We'll have to do a part 2 and explain it. I see that the camera's blinking like it's about to die soon. So we're going to cut it short. If you guys do want to see us a part 2, send us a DM on Instagram and give us additional questions that we can work into it. And we will catch you guys on the next one.
Bye. Bye.
What the heck was that?
Let's knock that down.
Bye.